Hello, everyone, and I hope that everyone is having a great day. It is late. It's almost 8:30 in the evening, and I am legitimately just getting home. I decided to go ahead and record this video today because this is one of the things that does matter and is something that several people have come to me recently being concerned about. So, what I want to talk about today is the opinions of others, right? So, the example I'm going to immediately give, the one that was brought up to me bright and early this morning as I was walking to work. My little girl was upset. She is 6 years old right now. And she was upset because she has a bully at school, apparently, a couple of them. And she's frustrated that one of the boys in her class is following her around, calling her an idiot, right? Her feelings are not too different than what a lot of adults feel, where they're always worried about the opinions of others and they're constantly focused on those opinions to the point where they modify their entire lives and they do everything they can to try to fit in and belong and, not be seen that way, right? So thinking back to my own experiences with this and how I was as a kid, I faced a lot of those types of things. There were a lot of stereotypes, a lot of misnomers about me. And it was really hard to manage because some of them, you could kind of get a little bit where they would come from. Other ones, it was just so confusing, right? Like, where'd you even, what? Who told you this? And as an adult, this is still something that kind of happens. And individuals who, most of the time in my case, obviously everyone's situation is different, but most of the time in my case, they're angry because I have something that they would like and they feel they deserve it more than me. Right. So they come up with these salacious rumors and they say all sorts of terrible things. And they critique you, your methods, tell you that all these different things are wrong about yourself. And over my lifetime, I've mentored a lot of people who have suffered tremendously about this, right? Or suffered tremendously from this. They have discussed constant personal struggles, trying to meet the expectations of various people within their lives. And then when I start dialing in on a couple questions to try to understand, okay, I can see that this person's opinion is really impactful to you, that you're really upset by it. So tell me a little bit about this person. Who are they to you? That's always an interesting dialogue. It typically turns out that these people that have all these awful things to say about them, while they're somebody as a human being, they're nobody in the perspective of this person's life. They don't make any decisions for this person. They don't help this person. They don't rate this person. They don't do anything to support or enable or, supplement or anything. They are not complementary to this individual at all, yet the individual feels upset that that person has a negative opinion about them. So the first thing I want to say is it is completely acceptable and normal for you not to like when someone has a bad opinion about you, right? No one likes to be spoken ill of. In fact, most people like myself who get so accustomed to people speaking ill of you, you just kind of shrug it. It's like, oh, all right, another one, cool. The next thing is ask yourself, who is this person to you, right? A long time ago, I found out if I try to do everything that everyone wants exactly as they want it, then I'm not going to be me. Not only am I not going to be me, but I am not going to even see the slightest shred of success. And I say that very clearly, right? Because one of the examples I can give is as I was transitioning from being super poor to being more financially stable, a lot of my super poor friends had a lot of negative feedback to give me about what I was doing and how, oh, well, you're selling out, you're this, you're that, oh, you got money and you forgot who we are now, forgot who they were because I wasn't wanting to spend money on them constantly, because I wasn't spending money on myself constantly. I was reinvesting it. I was focusing on my education. I was doing things that would bring me more money and more success and secure that money and success to make it easier to work with, right? But these people had constant negativity to share with me, right? Like just nonstop. And it got to the point where I was like, wow, you guys really suck. And after a while, I tuned them out. I considered, who are you in my life? What are you adding to my life? It turned out almost every single person, not all of them, but we'll say a minimum of 9 out of 10 people, offered nothing to my life. It was me supplementing theirs. It was me doing favors for them. It was me helping them. It was me advising them. It wasn't the other way around. It was me always being asked to do this or do that, not me asking them. And at that point, that was like a revelation for me. I was in my early 20s, I think, when I was just struggling because I was trying to be there for everyone. And I felt bad because it was like, oh, well, I got to be there for you. And I felt like, personally, I felt like I was selling out because it was like, man, have I really said? And I was having little identity crises, which is understandable because I was in brand new territory. I didn't even know what I was doing yet. And when I started asking myself, what do these people bring to my life? That made a big difference for me and allowed me to handle these situations much more effectively. But I took it too far. And this is where the second half of this conversation will come in. What I mean by I took it too far, I didn't consider their political relationships. When I say political relationship, I don't mean conservative, liberal, independent. I mean, who do they know and who do they have the ear of? So I got to the point where I would scoff at them, right? Because, all right, you got another negative opinion. And they would be highly offended by that. And they would go to this other person who was a gatekeeper for an opportunity I needed and tell that person how they saw me. And because they had the ear of this other person, this would typically not work out in my favor, right? So I had to re-advise and consider their strategic relationships. There are times where you just don't have to compromise your values. You don't have to compromise yourself. You don't have to kiss anyone's butt. But be aware. There are moments for civility and there's moments for ignoring, right? Civility does not involve ignoring. Ignoring is one of those things that you can do that is like the ultimate insult. It is more insulting to just laugh and walk away from somebody when they say something that's critical feedback, so to speak. Not really critical feedback because there's nothing you can do with I don't like you, right? But it's more insulting to laugh at them and walk off than it is to respond and say, hey, F you, man. And you need to remember that. So that ignoring advice that everyone always shared when I was younger, it only benefited me so far because when I used that against people that had political relationships that could impact me, it impacted me. So my advice for everyone here, be true to yourself. Have your own value system and base your judgments of your performance of yourself off of your value systems. Establish goals that have realistic time periods. If you've heard of SMART goals, utilize SMART structuring for your goals. And before you decide how you're going to respond to individuals who are providing you with critical or just negative feedback, we'll just say negative feedback. I like critical feedback because it helps me improve, right? But just negative feedback, just people tearing you down for the sake of doing it. Identify who they are in your life. Do you care about this person's opinion? Like, do you actually care? Aside from, I don't like those words. Do you really care that that person sees you that way? After you identify whether you actually care if that person sees you that way, identify who they know in your life and if you care about what that person thinks about you. Once you have those two pieces of information, you can make a better decision on how you want to approach that information. It's really important. It sounds strategic, and it is. It is a lot of work. And sometimes it's, especially after someone just insulted you, who wants to sit there and really think through that? But always remember, your actions have consequences, both good and bad. In America, we've taken the word consequence to mean only bad things, but consequences can be good too. And I have mended several relationships by taking critical feedback, or let's just say negative feedback, taking negative feedback in stride and responding with something lighthearted and witty, or, like being receptive to the individual, even though I really didn't need to be, because they remembered that and mentioned that in passing to other people, right? Which that did positively affect the other people. It did positively influence them on my behalf. So that's all I have to share for today. This is one of those life lessons. To summarize it up, just don't allow people's opinions of you to overwhelm you emotionally. Consider who they are in respective to your life. What value do they bring to your world? And consider what relationships they have to important relationships in your world. Use that information to make your decision. Don't allow it to stress you either way. I hope everyone has a wonderful evening. Best of wishes.